India. Chaotic, busy, overwhelming, but beyond beautiful. The huge culture shock that you experience by going to India is part of its charm. It really is unlike anything you have ever experienced before. It's incredible India. What's up my dudes, my name is Noahvde and today I'm going to be showing you how to travel India in 1 month. Now don't get me wrong, India is a massive country and you could spend months exploring it, but this route will give you a little taste of everything. Starting off the travels, we will be flying into India's capital, New Delhi. Flights into Delhi are generally the cheapest and it puts you in a very good central location up north. There's tons to see and do in Delhi and everything is connected by a world-class metro system, making it super easy to get around. I think spending 2 days in Delhi is the perfect amount of time. Backpackers tend to hang around Paharganj as there's tons of cheap food and accommodation there. From Paharganj, you can easily go and check out Jama Masjid, the Red Fort, the Lotus Temple, and India Gate. One thing that is amazing throughout the entirety of India is food. And in Delhi, the food you have to try is thali. A North Indian specialty. You get a plate with curries, rice, chapati. Not gonna lie, it's pretty awesome. After Delhi, we are hopping on a train headed west for the next 17 hours while we head to Jaisalmer. Always make sure to give yourself some extra time while traveling throughout India as things are often late or delayed. But now you're in Jaisalmer, so take in the beauty. Although the city is awesome, that is not the reason it's one of my favorite places. I love it so much because of the camel safari. The safari is absolutely amazing. For about $40 US, you get to ride these camels for an hour and a half into the desert and sleep overnight. You're in the middle of nowhere, so you get to sleep under the stars, build a massive campfire, sing songs, and make dinner. The camel safari was definitely one of the highlights of our trip. There's not a whole lot more to do in Jaisalmer, so after you've spent 1 night in the town and you've spent 1 night in the desert, you're able to move on. Next up, we're catching a bus to Udaipur. Commonly referred to as the City of Love, Udaipur is absolutely beautiful. A city filled with lakes, temples, and mountains. You really can't ask for much else. You'll be able to spend 2 days here exploring no problem. One thing that you must check out, and I'm probably going to butcher the name, but MASALA Hill. It's the perfect place to catch a sunset and gives you a great view of the entire city. From Udaipur, we're going to catch a train to Jaipur, and that's where we're going to spend our next 2 days. Jaipur is a busy city with lots of history. It's filled with museums, gigantic forts, and it has a ton of unique architecture. While the city itself was not my favorite, I most definitely enjoyed visiting things like the Amber Fort and Jantar Mantar. Pro tip, if you have a student card, bring it with you because you can get a massive discount to see all of these attractions. From Jaipur, you can hop on a bus and head to our next destination of Agra. You may or may not have heard of Agra before, but you most definitely know what it's famous for, the Taj Mahal. I went into the Taj Mahal not expecting much. I really thought it was going to be an overhyped tourist attraction, but I was wrong. The Taj Mahal is definitely one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in my entire life. From the immaculate white marble palace to the pristine green gardens surrounding it, the Taj Mahal is perfection. The best time to see the Taj Mahal is definitely for sunrise. You'll dodge a lot of the crowds by getting up early, and then for sunset you'll be able to take a boat ride on the river behind the Taj Mahal. By the way, the Taj Mahal is closed every single Friday, so don't visit on a Friday. You'll really only need to spend 1 day here in Agra before we can move on to our next destination of Varanasi. After taking the train from Agra to Varanasi, you were greeted with one of the craziest cities in the world. Varanasi is definitely not for the faint of heart. Located alongside the Ganges River, Varanasi is one of the holiest cities in the Hindu religion. People from all over the country come to Varanasi with their families and friends to perform funeral rites or celebrations of life for their loved ones. What makes Varanasi so crazy and chaotic and unique is how open these celebrations are. Now, it would have been disrespectful for me to take pictures or videos of these events actually occurring, but this stuff happens throughout the entire city 24/7. After spending 2 full days exploring Varanasi, you can hop on a train and head back to New Delhi. From Delhi, we're going to catch a plane to our next destination, which is Mumbai. Being India's largest city, there is just a ton of stuff going on in Mumbai at all times. You won't need to spend any more than 2 days here, as that gives you enough time to explore and see the sights. You can check out the Gateway of India, and you can do a city tour if you want, but I honestly prefer just walking around the streets by myself. Before we move on to our next destination though, I created a travel guide for those of you who are headed off to India and have questions or want to just know a bit more about the country. It covers things like the cost of a trip to India, how to deal with visas, vaccines, and banking, how to get around the country. Seriously, anything and everything that I wanted to know before I left in one guide. If you guys want to check it out, feel free to noahvde.com/store. Once you've seen enough of Mumbai, hop on a train and head down south to Anjuna Beach, Goa. Goa is a province known for its beaches, and Anjuna Beach is like the backpacker's place to be. This is probably going to be the first time during the trip we're actually able to sit back and relax, but let's be real, you don't come to India to relax. The thing that makes Anjuna special to me is the atmosphere, the people you meet and hang out with. It really is like the central backpacker location. If you don't want to sit around all day, there's quite a few day trips around like Dusagar Falls as well as the CHAPORA Fort. 3 days here should be enough to recuperate and rejuvenate before we hop on a bus to our next destination, which is Hampi. Hampi is a super unique, tiny village in India that's about an 8-hour bus ride away from Anjuna Beach. It was definitely one of my favorite places we visited in India just because of how unique it is. I've never seen anything like it. This ancient village is surrounded by massive boulders, flowing rivers, intricate temples. It has so much to offer. I highly recommend you give yourself a day to rent a bike and just ride around. Stop wherever you see something interesting and just take in the views. You should also head over to Sunset Peak, where you can catch a beautiful sunset as it dips below the temples. And if you're feeling like a daredevil, you can do some bouldering. Because of all the massive rocks throughout Hampi, it is a bouldering or rock climbing destination, so you can rent equipment and try it out. It's time to make our way to our last destination, which is Alleppey Kerala. While you're waiting for your train, make sure you try some Indian masala chai tea. I drink a couple glasses of this stuff every day. It is delicious. Kerala is often regarded as the most beautiful state in India, and it's home to the backwaters. The backwaters of Alleppey Kerala are a system of complex canals and lagoons that help the city function. It was such a stark contrast to the rest of India because in Alleppey Kerala people don't use cars, they use boats. A huge part of the city is built around these canals, so there's floating hospitals, floating markets, floating school buses. In the backwaters they don't have school buses, they have school boats. Now the majority of tourists decide to take a houseboat tour through the canals, but that's not the best option. A little less popular but a lot better is the kayak tours that you can get. The houseboats are really big, so they're forced to stay on the main canals, but I found myself enjoying the tiny, tucked away canals a lot more, and we were able to see them because we were on kayaks. And just like that, you've spent 30 days traveling through India. It's insane how fast it goes. Depending on your next destination, your best bet is probably taking a train down south to Trivandrum and then catching a plane either to Mumbai or somewhere else from there. Thank you so much for watching, my dudes. I really hope you were able to take something away from this guide. And remember, if you're headed to India, I wrote some travel guides just for you. You can check them out on my website. Peace out, my dudes, and I'll see you in another one.